Imagine you're working. You've been at your desk for hours, your neck hurts, your coffee is cold, and you look at your paycheck and think, this is it. This is what my time is worth. But somewhere else, at this exact moment, someone else just got paid. They didn't lift a finger. They didn't answer a single email. They didn't even look at a spreadsheet. They just received money. And here's the part that doesn't make sense. You worked 40 hours to get your money. They did nothing. But when the government comes to take its share, the person who did nothing pays less, much less. In some cases, almost nothing. They have discovered a second salary, a secret paycheck, one that doesn't come from working, and the system was designed by the people who receive it. Wait, how? How is it possible that a country taxes effort harder than it taxes wealth? How can you earn millions legally and never pay a dime in income tax? You're about to find out. But first, we need to go back to the moment the world decided to punish the worker and reward the owner. Let's talk about two people, you and someone else. You work for a salary. You get paid by the hour or by the year. And when that money hits your bank account, it's already been attacked. The government took its cut before you ever saw it. Income tax, Social Security, Medicare, it all disappears. You're making $70,000 a year, but your actual take-home is more like $55,000. That's the first hit. You've been taxed before you even get to spend it. Now here's the crazy part. It doesn't stop there. You want to buy groceries, sales tax. You want to fill your car with gas, excise tax. You want to buy a house, property tax. You want to own a car, registration tax. Every time you earn something, you get taxed. Every time you buy something, you get taxed. Every time you own something, you guessed it, taxed again. But the person who doesn't work, the person who just owns things, they have a totally different relationship with the government. They don't have a paycheck, they have an asset, they don't have a boss, they have a board of directors. They don't pay income tax, they pay capital gains tax, and that's a completely different world. When you work, your labor is taxed. When they own, their wealth is treated with caution. The tax code treats a dollar you earn from your sweat differently from a dollar they earn from a share of a company. That doesn't make sense, does it? You're both receiving money, but the system treats one of you like a citizen and the other like a partner. Wait, what's the actual difference? Let's zoom in. The person who works, they get a W-2. The government knows exactly what they earned. The money flows from the employer to the employee. It's simple, it's trackable, it's easy to tax. The person who owns shares, they don't get a W-2. They get dividends. Sometimes they get capital gains. Sometimes they get nothing on paper, while their net worth explodes. This is where the system tilts. When you own assets, you control when you get paid. You control how much you get paid. You control whether you get paid at all. The worker gets paid on Friday, and there's no choice involved. So the mystery begins. How did we build a system that rewards owning more than earning? And how did the wealthy turn this into their secret second salary? A salary that doesn't exist on any tax form? Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the difference between ordinary income and capital gains. Ordinary income is your salary, your wages, your tips, the money you earn from actually doing something. This is taxed at a rate that can be as high as 37%. Plus, you have state taxes. Plus, you have FICA. But capital gains, the profit from selling an asset, is taxed at a maximum of just 20% for long-term holdings. Sometimes it's zero. Yes, zero. If your income is low enough, you pay absolutely nothing in capital gains tax. Now here's where it gets weird. The wealthy don't take salaries. They pay themselves in stock. They pay themselves in options. They pay themselves in dividends. Let's say you're a founder. You create a company. It goes public. You own millions of shares. You don't need a salary. You're worth $100 million on paper, but you haven't sold anything. You haven't realized the gain. So you pay nothing. You can live in a mansion. You can drive a car worth more than most houses. You have a security detail. You have a private jet. But according to the IRS, you have no income. You are, in the eyes of the tax code, broke. But you're not broke. You just know how the game works. And you know something else. The tax code loves people who create value. It doesn't care about people who create labor. That feels unfair, doesn't it? But hold on, there's a twist. You don't even need to sell your stock to live like a king. There's a way to get millions in cash without triggering a single dollar of capital gains tax. And it's so simple, it's almost offensive. Let's talk about the single most powerful tool the wealthy use to avoid taxes, something most people have never heard of. It's called buy, borrow, die. You own assets, stocks, real estate, paintings. You don't sell them. You just use them as collateral. You borrow against them. Banks love this. They love lending to rich people. The rich person gets cash. The bank gets interest. And the best part? A loan is not income. The IRS doesn't tax loans. Think about that. You can borrow $10 million and the government treats it as if you made nothing. You use the cash to live, you buy a house, you travel, you invest, you enjoy the life of a billionaire while reporting zero income. And you never sell your assets, you never trigger taxes. But what about the loan? What about the debt? That's the genius part of buy, borrow, die. When you pass away, your assets are stepped up in basis. That means the government resets the cost basis to the value at the time of death. So the gains are erased. Your heirs sell the assets. They pay almost no capital gains tax. They pay off the loan. And the wealth continues to grow, untouched by income tax. It's a wealth machine, and it's perfectly legal. It's the ultimate second salary. The wealthy earn millions, not through effort, but through assets. Not through labor, but through leverage. Not through income, but through debt. And they never pay income tax. Now we zoom out. This isn't just a story about loopholes. This is the story of how the system was designed. The tax code was built by people who had assets. They created rules that favored wealth over work, ownership over effort. It's not a conspiracy. It's a structure. When you own something, you want the tax code to preserve that ownership. You want to incentivize investment. You want to make it easy to pass things down. But when you work, you're just a cost. You're a line item, and the system treats you accordingly. So here's the paradox. The person who works 40 hours a week pays more in taxes proportionally than the person who does nothing. The person who creates nothing but owns everything pays almost nothing. It's the great inverse of the American dream. You work, you pay, they own. They don't. It's not about income, it's about power. And the people who figured this out, they don't need your sympathy. They need your attention. Because once you understand how it works, you can't unsee it. So here we are. You wake up tomorrow. You go to work. But you know something you didn't know before. You know that the wealthy have a secret. A paycheck that doesn't exist on paper. A salary that the tax system barely touches. A world where owning is more powerful than earning. And the question is no longer, what do they have that I don't? It's, what are we going to do about it? Because the game isn't rigged. It's just built by people who knew the rules. And now, so do you. The question is, are you going to play or are you going to change the game?